Greetings. Whether you're a new hunter or an old hunter, it's never a bad time to pick up a new weapon. In today's guide, I'm going to give you some general tips about the sword and shield. Enjoy! First and foremost, for all you veterans out there, the new sword and shield is nothing like how it used to be, so if you've been sleeping on this weapon until now, don't. And for all the new hunters that are here, don't be swayed by all the flashy things that your fellow hunters may be doing with their weapons of choice. Except the lance users. They're not flashy either. But that's a discussion for another day. You may not have the most extravagant attacks, but what you do have is versatility, and one of the most flexible movesets available. The sword and shield may not be the powerhouse that some of you rookies want, but it does have the functionality and support that your team may need, if you take the time to learn it. And that's what I'm here to help with. So, let's get started with the basics. What the sword and shield can do. You've got your regular old slashing attacks. You can use your shield for impact damage, allowing you to knock out monsters so the rest of the team can get their time to get their licks in. You can use most items on the fly without having to de-equip your weapons. All you have to do is block and, well, use the item. Fairly easy. You can use your slinger and your wedge beetles whenever you want. And of course, you can also use your shield to block. While not as impressive a block as the lance and gun lance, I still find it better to use than the greatsword. In a lot of ways, the sword and shield is about accessibility. Anyway, now that the preamble is done, let's get into why I fell in love with this weapon. One word: mounting. In terms of mounting, various weapons get brought up. The hammer spins to win, the lance can do a dashing leap, and of course the insect glaive speaks for itself. However, for my Zenny, the sword and shield will always be my go-to for mounting monsters. But enough words. Let me show you what this thing can really do. And so we've arrived at the ancient forest, one of my favorite locales. Now, why do I say that the sword and shield is one of my favorite weapons to mount with? Well, that's because of one move, the charged slash. Now, the charged slash is special. You can do it after any of your attacks, or any of your moves, for that matter. You can do it after a regular slash. You can do it after an impact. You can even do it after a dodge. Now, the way you activate this move is after any normal strike or impact, hold back on the directional stick and hold circle. You can vary the amount of charge time if you want. It all depends on the situation. You can either make it short or a little bit longer. Now, the special thing about the charged slash is when it impacts an enemy, it propels you into the air, enabling you to do one of two different moves. Here, I'll try to show you on this Abdenoth. Oops. Let's try that again. Now, what I did there was... Oh, calm down. Actually, this is a much better target for us to demonstrate on. An Anjanath. Now, this is also a fairly good opportunity to show you another move that you can use for mounting damage. Let me get this beast's attention. when you're approaching a ledge, if you do your advancing strike off of it, you will actually propel yourself into a tackle, which you can then link into more mounting damage. Now, let me just get him over the ledge, and I'll demonstrate. Perfect. Now, let's let him go. We've got plenty of time, Anjanath. I don't need to hurry. Let's show that one more time. As you can see, that was 2 strikes. One on the tackle, and then one coming down. Very useful for mounting. But let's see if I can show you the charge strike. Ow. Let's try that again. Well, I've had quite enough of that. So, that was the regular striking animation. Let's show you the falling bash. That's a fun move. Good for damage and knocking out monsters. Well, if he hadn't run, that might have worked. Well, let's continue chasing after him. Now, some other moves that you might want to keep in mind is your advancing strike. That's the move where you rush forward with your blade and slice, like this. This move opens you up to several mounting options. You can do it to open your charging slash. You can use it to tackle off of a ledge, as I've shown. And you can also use it to jump up ledges, like that. It's one of your most versatile moves. As you can see, it also counts for mounting damage. It would be silly if it didn't, actually. Now, one of the more annoying things is when you're fighting these large, two-footed monsters, sometimes your charge slash will miss its target. But that's no fault of the weapon. Now, I like to start off a lot of my charge slashes by putting myself into position with my initial strike. I said, putting myself into position with my initial strike. And then planning the jump from there. Let's actually drop him this time. He's been rather annoying thus far. Now, I feel I don't have to go into the basics of what to do once you've mounted a monster. I feel most of you have probably grasped that. We might as well finish him off. There's no sense in wounding him just to leave him. Now, as far as other general tips are concerned, for the Sword and Shield I would also recommend using your mid-air slash to reposition into another charged slash. That's something I didn't mention earlier, but your charged slash can also be comboed into another charged slash if you successfully struck them and went in the air. Upon landing, you can continue to hold back and hold circle. Then you will proceed to back hop again into another charged slash. You've probably seen me doing it throughout the hunt. Either way, it comes in very handy. But in the short amount of time that we've been encountering this Anjanath, I'm sure that it's become readily apparent what the Sword and Shield can do. Let's just finish off this Anjanath, and then we can be on our way. If only he would stop running away. And there you have it. A very functional weapon, if you know how to use it. And it also affords your fellow teammates plenty of opportunities to finish what needs to be done. While I had mentioned earlier that the Sword and Shield isn't exactly a powerhouse, it can hold its own for most intents and purposes. But creating openings is where it really shines. If I had a greatsword user, this fight would have taken a quarter of the time. But that's another story for another time. As far as this hunt is concerned, that will do it. And I hope I could have inspired at least a few of you, veterans or new, to maybe try out the Sword and Shield. But until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye-bye. I appear to be stuck, but please, send help. Bosnia, help me. I see you down there. I know you know that I'm up here. Help me, please. Oh, jeez.